Long ago, the town of Kembe was known for its powerful protectors, the giant boa snakes. The people reverenced these massive creatures as gods, believed to have descended from the ancient spirit who watched over the land. The boas could not be killed, for their purpose was divine, and they protected the indigents of Kembe from danger. Legend had it that the boas could comfort those who felt discomfort or pain. If anyone complained about lacking comfort, food, and even children, the snakes would come when the town was fast asleep and relieve the burden. They would crawl beneath the sleeper's head, lifting it gently and ensuring a peaceful night's rest after a stressful day, and heal wounds of men, women, and children if they ever complained. The boas's presence was both a blessing and a mystery. No one spoke of it openly, but everyone knew the sacred role they played in the town's harmony. One rainy afternoon, a young woman named Nengi arrived in Kembe. She had been posted to the town for her National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) to teach English at the local primary school. Nengi had traveled across rivers and farmlands, and her journey ended with a ferry ride that took her to the isolated town. But in her haste to get off, she had forgotten her pillows and beddings on the ferry. After settling in her modest accommodation, she realized the error, but it was too late. She brushed off the discomfort, thinking it wouldn't be much of a problem. One morning, however, Nengi woke up with her neck aching terribly. It was as though she had slept on a hard stone. On her way to school that day, she thought about the comfort of city life she had enjoyed before arriving in Kembe and the stinging, discomforting pain in her neck. She decided to speak to the principal to inquire where she could get a new pillow. She gently tapped on the door and went in. She complained to the school's principal and her colleague, a quiet man named Mr. Lato. "I wish I could get a pillow," she groaned. "My neck is killing me." At once, the principal and Mr. Lato exchanged glances and shushed her, their faces pale.
"Don't speak of such things," the principal whispered. "Just endure it. It will pass. You will get used to it."
Confused but too tired to further question, Nengi shrugged and went about her day. That night, something strange happened. As she drifted into sleep, Nengi felt an unusual sense of comfort. Her head, which had been resting on the hard mattress, suddenly felt elevated, as if cushioned by something soft yet firm. She stirred in her sleep but did not wake. When morning came, she felt refreshed, her neck no longer aching, but the room felt unusually chilly. Shrugging off the cold, she hurried off to school, not realizing what had happened. For 6 nights, this strange comfort continued. But on the 6th night, Nengi had a nightmare. She dreamt she had been chased through the dark forest by a shadowy figure, hissing and slithering behind her. In her dream, she ran through trees, the ground beneath her shaking. She awoke abruptly, her heart pounding, only to find something terrifying. A giant boa snake, called exactly where her head had rested. Horrified, she stumbled out of bed, her breath caught in her throat. Panic took over her senses. The legends she had heard whispered by the locals flashed in her mind. But in her fear, she couldn't remember the reverence owed to these creatures. She grabbed her kerosene lamp, its flames flickering, and poured the fuel over the snake before lighting it. In an instant, the boa caught fire, brightened and hissing, and Nengi watched in horror as flames engulfed the creature. But the town would not remain the same. The ground beneath Kembe began to tremble as an unearthly wail echoed through the night. The boas, angered by the desecration of one of their own, slithered out from their hidden dens and stormed through the streets, their scales shimmering under the moonlight. The people of Kembe woke up to find their protectors enraged, and chaos erupted. Houses shook, trees fell, and the air seemed to pulse with fury. Nengi ran, knowing the town would not forgive her easily. The Boas, once protectors, now sought vengeance. Quickly, she sought refuge in the school. She ran and found Mr. Lato outside, who was there wondering what was going on. She narrated her encounter with the Boa to Mr. Lato, who in desperation and fear helped Nengi escape. He disguised her in a traditional garb and they fled together into the night. They ran as fast as their legs could carry them, leaving Kembe far behind. She soon arrived in a neighboring town, got a bus, and headed back to the city, a place where life felt more familiar. Nengi tried to forget the horrors of Kembe, moving to the bustling metro city to start a new life. She secured a job at a reputable firm, and months passed. The memories of that dreadful night slowly faded. One day, while Nengi was out dining in a restaurant, she met Harry, a handsome and kind-hearted young doctor. Their love blossomed quickly as they shared mutual understanding, love, and respect. It wasn't as surprising as a year after her terrifying encounter in Kembe, and in 7 months of a love-saddled romance, Harry proposed. Ecstatic, Nengi said yes.
If you're stumbling upon this video for the very first time, please consider subscribing to this channel and turning on your post notifications so that you can never miss any video. Your support helps us create more content like this that you'd love.
The night before their wedding, the couple lay side by side, excited for the life they would share. As Harry reached out to hold his bride close, his fingers brushed against something cold and rough. Alarmed, he turned to see that Nengi's skin was no longer soft and smooth. Instead, it was covered in thick scales. Horrified, he leaped out of bed, unable to comprehend what he was seeing. Nengi woke up to Harris's scream. "What's the matter, love?" she asked, her voice trembling with concern. But Harry couldn't find the words. His bride, the woman he loved, was transforming right before his eyes. The scales continued to cover her from head to toe, shimmering ominously in the dim lights. As Nengi moved towards him, she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. What she saw sent a wave of terror through her. Her reflection, once beautiful, was now entirely covered in large gleaming scales. Her breath quickened and her heart pounded in her chest. The sight of her own skin, transformed into something unrecognizable, was too much to bear. Her vision blurred, and before she could say a word, her knees buckled and she collapsed, fainting on the spot. Harry rushed to her side, panic rising in his throat as he tried to wake her.
Nengi!
He called, his voice shaking, but she lay motionless, her scaly skin cold beneath his trembling hands. When Nengi awoke, she found herself in the hospital. A colleague of Harry stood beside her, shaking.
I've never seen anything like this.
The doctor muttered to Harry, looking over Nengi's motionless body.
Her skin. It's unnatural.
Over the next few days, they tried to piece the puzzle together. The doctors ran tests, but the results revealed nothing ordinary. Harry recalled Nengi's strange story she once told him on one of their trips about the Sacred Boas of Kembe, the snake she had set on fire, and the nightmare that had followed. He realized with a sinking heart that Nengi's transformation was no coincidence. Desperate for answers, Harry decided to visit Kembe, leaving Nengi on the care of the doctors, hoping to uncover the truth. However, when he arrived, the town looked nothing like what Nengi had described. Instead of a vibrant village, Kembe was early, deserted, and gloomy, the air thick with unease. Harry quickly asked around about the school where Nengi had taught just a year ago. With suspicious eyes, a pregnant woman pointed him down a road opposite the narrow path Nengi had taken that fateful night with Mr. Lato. Following her directions, Harry knocked on the door of an old abandoned-looking house. After a moment, an elderly man emerged. He was Mr. Lato. Harry's heart leaped with hope as the man introduced himself. He explained Nengi's plight, pleading for any solution, even if it meant resorting to a dark magic. But Mr. Lato's face fell into an expression of sadness and defeat. He explained that after he had helped Nengi escape to a neighboring village, the town's chief priest had made an offer, a plea for the killer of the Sacred Boas to come willingly to their shrine. There they were to live among the snakes for a month, after which the dead boa would be buried as royalty. The ritual required 4 large cows to be sacrificed and a new white casket to honor the fallen creature. But the deadline was strict, 350 days from the boa's death. After that, the god's wrath would descend on the killer, and the portal for restitution would forever close. Tried as he may, he couldn't get the message across to Nengi, as now Mr. Lato was a prisoner in Kembe, confined to the old school grounds by the king for his role in helping the culprit flee.
There's nothing that can be done,
He said quietly, his voice thick with regret.
The time has passed, and the gods will have their revenge.
Harry stood there, devastated. Nengi had killed a god, and now the curse of the Boas had taken its full hold. The death of the Sacred Boa had consequences far more than death. The curse was clear. For every year that passed on the anniversary of the Boas' death, Nengi would lose her human beauty. Her skin would transform into that of a snake's, scaly, cold and terrifying, reminding her of the sacred creature she had destroyed. The curse would remain until the end of her time. Every year, for an entire month, her appearance would change, and no doctor, no medicine could reverse it. Nengi had to live with the reality that her actions had consequences. She had disrespected the sacred protectors of Kembe, and for that, she would suffer eternally. Harry left Kembe, defeated and sad for his beloved. Guys, the story of Nengi reminds us of the consequences of our actions, particularly when we disregard or disrespect the sacred or the unknown. Nengi's haste to rid herself of discomfort led to irreversible consequences, teaching us the importance of understanding and honoring traditions and beliefs, even when they seem strange or even outdated. This tale serves as a cautionary reminder some forces in this world are beyond human control, and to tamper with them is to invite disaster.